20 years after starring as Captain Jonathan Archer in Star Trek Enterprise, Scott Bakula is considering a return to the Star Trek universe in a new television series. Enterprise was hosted by Bakula for 4 seasons on UPN. Following Enterprise's 2005 cancellation, Bakula starred in NCIS, New Orleans and 2.5 Men, while Scott was nominated for 5 Primetime Emmys for Behind the Candelabra. Scott Bakula's possible return to Star Trek, similar to Patrick Stewart's portrayal of Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek Picard, has been speculated about in light of the increased popularity of Star Trek Enterprise in recent years. Bakula recently made an appearance at the Peabody Awards, appeared as a guest on the Decon Chamber podcast, and, for the first time since 2016, made an appearance at STLV Trek to Vegas 2025 convention, re-establishing his ties to Star Trek. According to an exclusive revelation from TrekMovie, writer-producer Mike Sussman has been working on a new TV series starring Scott Bakula and focusing on Scott's recurrence to his legendary role as Jonathan Archer. This development was revealed at STLV. As one would expect, this has set the Star Trek fan community into a tailspin of anticipation and guesswork. Everything we know about Star Trek United, directed by Scott Bakula, is here. During Jonathan Archer's tenure as president of the United Federation of Planets, Scott Bakula had the idea for a new Star Trek television series. The series would be called Star Trek United, or maybe Star Trek United. Star Trek Enterprise's 4th season episode, In a Mirror Darkly, written by Mike Sussman, introduced Jonathan Archer of the Mirror Universe to his Prime Universe counterpart, and the concept for this came from a graphic that Archer saw in that episode. The data card from Star Trek Enterprise, which is considered canon, showed that Jonathan Archer became involved in galactic politics after his time as NX-01 Enterprise's captain and was the first president of the Federation. That makes sense, considering that the Federation was born out of the partnerships forged by Archer on Star Trek Enterprise. According to TrekMovie's Mike Sussman, Star Trek Picard was the inspiration for Star Trek United, which would be a political thriller and a family drama set in those chaotic, formative years of the Federation. Scott Bakula had suggested the series. Bakula was really intrigued by this concept, which piqued his interest. According to Sussman, Star Trek United has the potential to do for Star Trek what Andor did for Star Wars, since it is a show where you can tell adult stories about adults and tell them in a very grounded, realistic way. According to Sussman, Bakula is on board with the notion of a fresh spin on Jonathan Archer, and Star Trek United provides just that. Mike Sussman told TrekMovie that he pitched the idea of Star Trek United to Alex Kurtzman and Secret Hideout a few years ago with Scott Bakula's blessing. Secret Hideout is in charge of the Star Trek development and production on Paramount Plus' TV series. Having created what he referred to as a high-level overview, Sussman went on to say that a further pitch would have included a pilot story, character arcs, and episode ideas. Secret Hideout presented Sussman's concept to Paramount officials because they were impressed with Star Trek United. Since the Golden Globe winner was such a big star for the network, Scott Bakula's return as a CBS Studios and Paramount series lead contributed to Star Trek United's appeal. Star Trek United was never greenlit, unfortunately, by Paramount or Secret Hideout. Star Trek Starfleet Academy, starring Holly Hunter, Oscar winner, and planned to debut on Paramount Plus in early 2026, was in development at the same time as Sussman's idea, which was one of the reasons. Popular Star Trek series, including Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Lower Decks were canceled as part of Paramount Plus's series reduction. Under CEO David Ellison's leadership, Skydance Media acquired Paramount Global in early August 2025. With a new management team taking over at Paramount, Mike Sussman thinks it could be a good time to pitch Star Trek United again. Mike has improved the idea behind Star Trek United, while Sussman and Bakula have kept working together on something unrelated to Star Trek. Based on Star Trek, the original series' introduction of Babel as a galactic diplomatic hub, Sussman decided to move Star Trek United's setting to the planet Babel to avoid any conflicts with Star Trek Starfleet Academy, which takes place in space and San Francisco. An entire millennium before Starfleet Academy even existed, Star Trek United would naturally take place in the latter half of the 22nd century. Executive producing Star Trek Into Darkness and Star Trek Beyond, David Ellison is a lover of the Star Trek franchise and the new CEO of Paramount. "We are committed to increasing investment in premium, exclusive content," Ellison promised, as part of Paramount's new streaming strategy.